What happened is that?
Guys, look at
I emailed him. I just said, "You want to play Scotty?"
And I looked at the email and it just said, "Would you like to play Scotty?" And I kind of looked at it twice, and I showed it to my wife, and she said, "Oh."
And he emailed back, "Are you kidding?" And then he said, I don't know if I could do it. It's too big of it." And so I emailed back, well, too bad, okay. Instantly I get an email back from him saying, wait, hold on a second.
I can't change the laws of physics.
I loved the original TV series. I remember watching it when I was 9 or 10 years old on holiday. I have a really strong memory. It used to be on BBC 2 in the UK at 6 o'clock every night. And it was a real appointment to view for me. I mean, James Doohan, it was such a great characterization. He had his light side, but he was also a fighter and a drinker. He was like what you would expect a Scot to be, really. I'm married to one, so she's not a fighter or a drinker.
I like this ship. It's exciting.
He just completely, knows the accent inside out, able to do it, just, genius.
I'm sure it's not your fault. I'm sure you lads are just doing your wee job, but could you not come a wee bit sooner?
But Tommy Gormley, who's our first AD, he's a Scottish first AD, so it was fantastic having the, Scottish police right there.
Quick! March!
The Scottish accent is I think it's fantastic. I've got a very critical ear for hearing bad Scottish accents. But he's got a wife from Glasgow, so he's already an honorary Scot.
It's a massive pressure because the fans out there are so numerous and so dedicated. This is their thing, and I'm kind of one of them, so you just want to please them as much as everyone else.
Kirk to engineering, get us out of here, Scotty.
You bitchin' arse, Captain!
Why aren't we at war?
I'm giving her all she's got, Captain!
And studying the original series and the history of how it came about, Captain Kirk and all that kind of stuff, if you read about it, was very much inspired by Kennedy.
Maximum more, punch it.
We'd seen Bruce Greenwood's performance in 13 Days where he played Kennedy. And so the idea of having the same gravitas that he brought to that presidential role to the first captain of the Enterprise, you feel it. Like you could have your own show and movie just about Captain Pike.
Outside, all of you.
He gives it a believability that is going to be essential.
I got a call from JJ going, "Do you want to come down and would you like to be involved?" And I went, "Yeah, I think maybe. Could I see a script?" He goes, "Oh, no, you can't. You can't see the script. You'll have to come in here into a room with somebody sitting outside, like this, and read it, and then we'll talk." So I came and read it, and then I said to JJ, "Yeah, for sure."
You're here for business, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Bruce is such a, he comes across as such an earnest guy, and he's so, this kind of the smart, handsome, guy. And he's literally the funniest guy I've ever met in my life.
After putting these in, I just felt kind of Elvis.
I like it before. I like it. Do you mind doing that, by the way, in every scene?
I think it's important I do.
He's like the really cool uncle that you want to have, And we were hanging out at his house, and we were just like, man, such a really cool, great, interesting person.
I would like him around, even if he's not in anything I do, because just to have him there was such a joy. He is awesome.
Yeah. I think it's for Spain.
I'm not going to kill him. I'm going to make him watch.
Well, Eric Bana, again, continues the long list of the embarrassment of riches that is our casting.
Something like Star Trek is so iconic that when you're then approached to be involved, you do pinch yourself.
It's often said in screenwriting that sometimes a movie is only as good as its bad guy.
It's not simply to avoid the destruction of the home that I love.
The bad guy that you can't relate to sometimes ultimately becomes a non-bad guy. The bad guy you can relate to becomes much more engaging to the audience.
Only then will she be safe.
He's very thoughtful and cares so much about what he's doing and really is incredibly focused. And the other thing is he's willing to try a broad range, and that was critical for this part.
Why was it a bit different not to do a version?
Because as the bad guy, you can get that mustache twirly, lame, over-the-top thing.
You're absolutely right. It can't just be the same note. It's got to be a different thing.
And Eric gave us incredible range from take to take, where I would ask for a little bit more, a little bit less.
Isn't that right, Spock?
Go back to the top.
Isn't that right, Spock?
He would be willing to go, from one extreme to the other.
Fire everything! I knew I should have killed you when I had the chance.
I felt as though the writers had almost treated his villainness with a grain of salt. And I thought he would be an entertaining villain. And most of all, from a selfish point of view, I knew it would be a lot of fun to play.
I take no pleasure in your extinction.
Despite the fact that he's doing these terrible things, you actually feel really bad for him. And that, to me, can only be done by a brilliant actor.
This is a really funny cast. I mean, everybody is like seriously funny people.
What blind spot?
His exhaust valve.
His anus.
His anus.
It's, you know, it goes to show you what we do is incredibly fun. And it's stupid that we get paid for it.
On the flip side, I feel like there's a certain sense of nervousness because it's such a small club that we're members of at this point. And I think it bonds us even tighter.
I definitely feel honored to be part of like the Star Trek family and to have worked with amazing actors. I feel like that's what I live for.
The fact that we're going to get to be ambassadors for this franchise and for these stories and for the fact that ultimately Star Trek sort of posits the notion that we can have a better world, and I think we all are aware of the fact that we live in times when that's an important sentiment, and to be connected to it with people that have that at their core is a great honor.
Among the things that were little mini blessings of this was to celebrate Leonard.
We hadn't heard anything about Spock from him for a long time. So I thought it might be interesting to find some way of bringing it around.
There was a general aura that was around on the set whenever it was around. Like, everyone was excited. There was an extra sense of, like, you know, he's here.
I remember watching him do his first scene as Spock for the first time in 15 years or something, and all of us were just, like, huddled around, you know, the monitor and watching him and just hearing him deliver those Spock lines and that Spock cadence. That's quite an extraordinary moment.
There are so few Vulcans left. We cannot afford to ignore each other.
He's not just an actor by any means. He's a writer and a director and a photographer and an art collector and philanthropist. He's really an incredible example of creative exploration through one's life.
We were shooting the final scene at the Academy, where Kirk receives his official captaincy.
We were up on this balcony shooting this one particular angle, and there were a few hundred people in the audience.
And JJ sort of leaned over with his mic and said, "Everybody, I'd just like to know that that Leonard Nimoy is here in the house."
Spock himself, Leonard Nimoy, who is here in his house and is going to actually...
And he went over the balcony and sort of waved and did the Vulcan, you know, salute.
And all these tired extras kind of turned around and jumped to their feet, and this thunderous ovation. It was just, I mean, everybody was just going, it was beautiful. It was really beautiful.
Ladies and gentlemen, this wraps Leonard Nimoy.
We all just felt blessed to be given this chance to meet with, work with, and become friendly with this amazing actor. It was a profound experience.
I'm not emotional. I've had a great time, and I have not been looking forward to this day. And I think you've got a wonderful movie here, and I think from the top on down,